show stretches. So, yes, this is when I usually do my stretches because I'm going to be talking for like an hour.
I was just saying my back was already hurting, and we're just at the pre-show.
Exactly. I'm not going to be able to leave this position for quite a while. Okay, guys, got 10 seconds left.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah. Woo.
On tonight's show, we take a close look at the island of Curacao and its beautiful beaches and shopping. Shelly is touching on Carnival's favorites and why. We have our cruise news, our photo of the week, and of course more from our resident cruise director, Chris, plus your questions answered live right here. All this and more on this week's episode of Cruise Week TV Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by Venus. Hello everyone, I am Matt and back for another packed show, and this week we focus on the island of Curacao and all the amazing things to do there. We have our guests, Dennis and Sadria. I know I pronounced that wrong. I asked her several different times in the pre-show, and I know I still pronounced it wrong, so we're going to get the proper pronunciation in just a bit. From Erie Tours in Curacao to tell you all the best things to do on the islands and what to avoid. My lovely co-host Shelly and editor of the CCPPF group on Facebook is here to talk about your favorite parts of the Carnival Cruise, and she wants to tell you and interact with all the posts of your favorites in the comments below with her. So now, if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. I am Matt, and I am still classified as a newbie cruiser, but that's okay, because the fun of this show is we get to learn all about cruising together. Each week we bring on experts to help and give us tips and tricks to make our next cruise even better and to save you guys time and money along the way. In a moment, we will be talking to our guests from Curacao and taking all of your questions. So if you are on YouTube or Facebook chat rooms, feel free to post your questions in there and we'll try to pick them up and put them to our guests. And while you're doing that, let's take a look at our photo of the week. This week, we asked the Decorate Your Doors group for their best photo of their decorated doors, with them also in the shot. There were a lot of great doors that we could not use because our rules state that you must also be in the shot. But it came down to two, and eventually we picked this one for the amount of work gone into it. This was sent in by Jenny Simic Hall from her 2017 Halloween cruise on the Carnival Breeze. That is one great door, and thanks so much, Jenny, for sending that photo into our show. Each week we pick a new Facebook group for cruising and ask its members to submit their best cruise photo. Next week we could pick just the group that you guys are in. When you book a cruise, you can book it online, you can call the cruise line direct, or you can save some extra money and call a travel agent. Having a travel agent not only can save you money and cashback incentives, but extra gifts. And sometimes there could be problems when you're booking it yourself, but it can be a lot nicer if you have someone on the inside to help sort it out, rather than just calling a random rep on the phone at the cruise line. Good Memories Travel is a full-service travel agency that offers you cashback and incentives that you won't get booking direct with the cruise lines. Why would you pay more for less? You can call or visit Good Memories Travel on the web, and it costs you nothing to compare a price and see the superior service and extras you would get when you go through Debbie and her team for your next cruise vacation. They cover all cruise lines, and if you're a new cruiser, they can suggest the best ship to suit your cruising style. Give Debbie a call or visit their website today and see just how much cheaper it can be. Debbie can be reached directly at 321-338-2953, and of course their website at goodmemoriestravel.com. So I asked everyone, how many of you have been to Curacao? And there were quite a few of you that had, and many more that are planning on visiting on your next cruise. Now, I have not yet been to this port, but our producer Bert has, and he was telling me how it's one of his favorite places with plenty of easy walking distance from the ship. The island of Curacao is located 40 miles off the coast of Venezuela. The island is approximately 62 kilometers long, 14 wide, and 4 at its narrowest point. In the middle of the island. It is generally flat with a little of a way of hills to climb and has a population of 160,000, with the primary languages being Dutch, Papiamento, and English. So now I have given you a little overview of the island. Let's talk to the experts who live and work there. Welcome to the show, Dennis and
Sadira.
Sadira. Okay. Sadira.
From
I'm
Erie
gonna
Tours.
write
Hi,
that
Matt.
down
How are you
phonetically.
doing?
I am great. Sadira.
Thank you for the invitation.
No problem. I am always glad to have tour guides come on here. So, first question. You guys are called Erie Tours. Now, how did you get that name exactly?
Well, it's actually
Erie Tours.
Erie
Okay.
Tours. Yeah, it's just something I like. I like Jamaica. I like reggae. I like Bob Marley. I have tattoos of Bob Marley on my body. So one day I sat down with my wife and I said, let's start a tour company. Let's call it Erie Tours. And we started Erie Tours 12 years ago.
Yep.
Nice. So, what
We had to
made
sell our
you?
car to start a business.
Yeah.
So you guys said
our
that you.
car, sold my car, and started the business.
Yep.
That's pretty a lot of investment in there. So what made you want
Yeah.
to give tours to a lot of people exactly? Like what was your main motive of doing it?
Well, it's actually something I liked from when I was young. I went to school in the United States, and every time I had people over from the United States, I was loving showing them the island and showing them the beautiful beaches we have here and everything we have here. And it was something I love doing. So I said, let me go do something I love doing professionally, and it's going good so far.
And we love our island, you know?
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of great things about the island, and we're already getting bombarded with questions. So this one comes from Brittany Goodwin. She says, what would you say is the #1 place to see or do while going there? And she says that she's actually going to be going to Curacao in December.
One place. Well, the #1 place, that's going to be difficult because it's a pretty big island. There's a lot to do and a lot to see. So there's not like really one thing you have to see. But if I have to choose one thing, it's to to see the city, see the floating bridge, the architecture. You know, our city is unique.
Amazing, yes.
Yes, it is.
So
the city for sure.
So the difference with Curacao is it actually has a lot of Dutch influence because in the early, I think it's like 1400s, I was looking up on some of the history of it. A lot of the Dutch and Netherlands kind of took control of the island, and that's how a lot of the culture developed from that. While a lot of the other Caribbean islands usually have French or Portuguese or Spanish influence from that. So how has the Dutch and Netherland influence really affected the island a lot differently than some of the other Caribbean islands?
Well, the first thing is you see it. You see it right away. When you arrive, if you just, take a walk through the city, you'll start seeing it in the architecture, the buildings, the monuments. You will see, it's like a little Holland, when you walk through the city. So you see it right away.
Has the food been affected a lot by the Netherlands region? I'm a big foodie, and we're talking about this in the pre-show. So what are some of the staple foods that you guys usually have down there?
The local food actually has nothing to do with Holland.
Nothing, no.
Really. It's
our main dish, I would say here, is the okra soup.
Yeah.
It's a soup made out of okra, and what they put in it is pig still, salt meat, and seafood. And it's a very slimy soup, and you eat it with cornmeal. Mm-hmm. That's our main dish on the island. And of course, we have all the stew dishes like the cabbage stew, the cucumber stew, the papaya stew, goat stew. So they make a lot of stew with vegetables and a type of meat. And in most of the stew, they put like the pig still again. So that comes back a lot, the pig still and the salt meat and the seafood. Yeah. So that all comes back again in most of the dishes.
So the real local food.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
No, so the real local food has nothing to do, doesn't have any Dutch influence at all.
Nothing at all.
Gotcha.
At all.
So when you guys think of the United States, what do you think of like our staple food is? Because if I think of like some other countries, I have like an idea in my head. So what do you guys think like our main food or like what we're known for is? I'm curious.
Hamburgers and
Yeah.
steaks, hot
I
dogs,
was, yep.
pizza. I know pizza's from Italy, but steaks, yeah. I mean, if you go to the steak,
Burgers, hot
hot
dogs.
dogs,
Yep,
yeah.
I would
Maybe
probably
we're
say
wrong.
burgers,
I don't
hot dogs, and
know.
steaks. Nope,
Oh,
that's
hot dogs
exactly
is
what I would say
German. It's
too.
German.
Okay, cool, cool. So, a lot of people are curious too. This one comes from Melissa Colby. She asks, "What is the best time of season to cruise down there?" So, a lot of other islands usually have like a rainy season or a windy season, or sometimes they get random cold fronts. What's the best time of year to go cruising around there?
I'd say November, December, January, February.
Yeah, look, like during those months is a little bit cooler on the island. It doesn't get cold, but it's just cooler, you know, the weather is nicer. It's always hot here, but just
Hmm.
during the December, January, February months, it's a little bit cooler than normal. We don't really have like a rainy season, but it tends to rain more around.
More often during those months, and that's what
Yes.
makes it also cooler. But right now we are in the windy season. It's very dry, very windy. So this time is the time I would not recommend anybody coming to Curacao. If it's the best time is like she said, those 4 months when it rains a little bit, it gets a little cooler, and that's also when we have the high season of the cruises. So it's anytime is fine for you to come to Curacao. It's just great here.
Do you guys ever get affected by the hurricanes? I know there have been quite a lot of hurricanes that swept to the Caribbean earlier on in the year. Did any of them hit Curacao, or are hurricanes not really a big issue down there?
Not at all.
Not
No.
at all. We're blessed.
Yes. They say we have
That's
a 0.3% chance of getting hit by a hurricane. I've been living here all my life, 46 years, and I've never experienced a real, like the eye of the hurricane. Of course, we've had, the tail of the hurricane go
mhm.
by, and we get some extra waves at the coast of the island, some extra wind, some more rain, but we've never experienced like an eye of the hurricane on this island. I've never experienced one.
So for a lot of the island, I was looking at your guys' tour page, and I noticed that you give different tours for the East Coast and the west part of the island. So what are the main differences between the east and the west of the island?
Well, the East Coast is more. It's
Populated.
yeah, yeah, and we go more of the touristy places, you know, during the East Side tour, and then the West tour we go into nature. You know, our West Side has beautiful, beautiful beaches, caves, national parks, exactly. So during the West Side tour, that's it's called the All West Beach Hopping Tour. You can see it on the website too. We go to the West Side, you know, where most people don't go when they're here on vacation,
Hmm.
especially when they're here during on a cruise ship. You know, if they don't book anything, they don't go to the West Side because it takes a longer time to get there. Most people then most of the tours that are sold on the terminal, for example, go to
Hmm.
the east side because everything's closer by, you know. But
Exactly.
I mean, both sides are very nice. It's just totally different, you
I
know.
say usually the all west beach hopping is more for the non-shoppers, those
Hmm.
who don't really want to go to the city and shop. They want to spend 6 7 hours looking at the island. We show a lot during this tour. We show you the national park Shitiboka, which is the north side of the island, which we have no beaches. You're gonna see all the beautiful waves hidden to the rocks. We have a cave there. After that, we go swimming with turtles. Every time you go there, you see turtles, so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do.
Nice.
After that, we go cliff jumping, like one of your clients just said, at
Yeah.
Playa 40, which is a beautiful cliff jump, 40 feet high. And after that, we go to Canepa Beach and Playa Porto Mari. So we're gonna show you the best.
And flamingos.
And flamingos, yeah, the
You will see
flamingo park,
flamingos.
yeah. Well, it's a salt lake full of flamingos, yes. And we also show you that.
So I just want to make sure I heard that right. You said 40 feet cliff jumps, right?
Yeah, 40 feet, just
Yep.
about,
40
yes.
feet. Oh my goodness. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's,
if I
it's a
could
pretty
do
high
that.
one.
I don't do it. He does. I don't.
That seems pretty steep. Guys watching the show, would you do a 40-foot cliff jump? I'm real curious about that. I might do it once if I'm like a little bit tipsy just to get the courage to run off and jump the cliff, but I don't know. 40 feet, that's a bit too steep for me. So Tanya says, what is the best beach for swimming and snorkeling around that area? She says that she's going on the Conquest in a week and kind of wants to know.
That has to be Puerto Marie for sure. Puerto Marie Beach. It's on the west side of the island. Look, we have public beaches and we have private beaches on the island. The public beaches are equally beautiful, but most of them don't have anything on the beach. And then you have the private beaches where you pay something to get in. It's not a lot. It's like $3, $3.50 to get in. But once you're there, you have all the amenities you need. They have showers and beach chairs you can rent and a nice restaurant and bar. Most of them have a dive shop and everything. Like Puerto Marie Beach even has pigs.
Yes, pigs on the beach.
It's a very nice beach. So we would recommend Puerto Marie Beach for sure.
It's our favorite beach. Yeah,
Yes.
that's where we usually send.
Now,
If
do
you
you
just
guys
want to go to one
normally
beach, Puerto Marie Beach, I would say yes.
do you have to take a taxi down there? Is it something that's easily walkable or?
Oh no, it's on the west side of the island. So you either take a taxi or you can take a tour like ours that include a stop at Puerto Marie Beach.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice. Oh gosh, we
To
have
take a
some people
taxi
who
there is going
actually.
to cost you quite a lot, just about $60 to get there and $60 back, maybe even more.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like a 40-minute drive, you know. So they charge quite a lot for those beaches. That's why we recommend taking a tour because you'll see more beaches. You'll spend an hour to an hour and a half on all the beaches. So it's amazing. If you're going to be here just for one day, you should take the Always Beach hopping.
Now, what's the main currency that's there? Going to a lot of the islands, sometimes people get a bit confused with currency exchange rates. How easy does the US dollar kind of mingle with a lot of the tour guides and tours and just everything on the island in general?
Well, actually, very easy because I mean, our Dutch, our guilder is connected to your dollar, so it never changes. So every time you go to the bank, you will get the same amount for your dollar. You can also pay with your dollar anywhere here on the island. You'll get an exchange rate of about a guilder 75. So for each dollar, you get a guilder 75. But if you go to the bank to get change for your dollar, you get about a guilder 77. So it's not that much different. But your dollar is always welcome here.
Yes, you can use it everywhere.
Okay, that's really nice. Just because I know
Everywhere,
going to
everywhere.
some places in Mexico, if you want to go to one place, it'll give you, 10 pesos back. Some place will give you 20. It can just get really confusing.
Yeah.
So I know this is a
No, here
lot
it's
easier. for people.
always the same exchange rate.
Oh gosh. Okay, so Mark Allen and a couple people really want me to ask about the pistachio liqueur. So tell me about some of the pistachio liqueur that you guys have there.
Okay, well, it is made on the island, but it's not like a staple, like local thing like the blue curacao.
No.
You know, but it is made on the island.
Nice.
It's
You know, it's kind of like eggnog.
Exactly.
You know the eggnog. We have something here called ponche crema, and now they last how many years? 20 years maybe. They started with the pistachio, and it's like an eggnog.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I
It's really good.
absolutely love drinking. My co-host Shally is a known alcoholic with the wine, and I'm sure she's giving me a little smug face over there. But yeah, so I'm sure pistachio wine or pistachio liqueur sounds absolutely amazing, and I would love to try it. If you guys have ever been to Curacao or have ever had pistachio liqueur down there, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to kind of get a lot of the different flavors and kind of experiences from you guys. Barbara asked a question that I'm really interested about. She says, do you guys have any special animals that are primarily in your region?
No.
No, not really. No.
Okay. Well, that answers
Not
that.
a lot of wild animals on the island.
We do have some wild animals though, like
But not a lot.
No.
I mean,
Like mainly birds, I'm assuming, or?
birds,
a lot of
iguanas.
birds, lots of iguanas, And
We have some deer, goats everywhere. But the
yes.
goats are owned by the people here, you know. So the goats walk around on the streets, but they are owned by people. So you can touch them or anything because the owner will come out and get you.
That's a good reason not to touch the goats. That's a very good reason.
Yes.
Don't touch the goats.
You see them walking in groups, but they leave the house, walk a little bit, and they go back.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
They feed themselves outside on the streets, yeah.
So I'm assuming goat is kind of very common meat to try to get in Curacao then, or?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Goat stew is very, very popular here.
That sounds amazing to me. I absolutely love soups and stews, and I've been dying to try some goat lately. I know my parents are not the most adventurous when it comes to food, so when I send them pictures and tell them what I'm eating on some of these islands, they're like, oh, I could never eat that. That's such a cute little animal. If it's cute, I can't eat it. I'm like, but the cute ones usually taste the best. I'm sorry, they just do. Anyway.
We eat iguana here too.
Yeah, we eat iguana soup here.
We had a vegetarian on our first cruise with us who was eating iguana, and we're like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I didn't know iguana was considered a vegetable to you, Spencer. So he was telling us that it tasted just like chicken, and he really loved it. So, I mean, hey, I'm a foodie. I would love to try different foods. Guys who are watching right now, would you be adventurous and try a lot of some of the dishes that you wouldn't usually get in the US? Let me know in those comments. This one comes from Charisse Colley, whose name it's taken me a very long time to pronounce correctly. She asked, what are the number 1 and 2 best items to bring home for souvenirs? Usually I like to bring home alcohols, of course, but do you guys have anything else that's really nice to bring home?
I would say the blue curacao, and a nice thing is at the distillery, they sell like a souvenir size. So you get like a pack with all the flavors, and they're small like this. Instead of buying the whole bottle, like a big bottle, you can buy like a pack of 4 to 5 of the of the different flavors. That is nice.
Mm-hmm. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday right there for me. Perfect. So a couple people are asking the price of your tours. Do they vary for the East and West Coast? How flexible are you guys with the prices exactly?
Yes, we have different prices. The East Side tour is $25 per person. It is a 2-hour tour, and we stop for 2 hours at Mambo Beach. Now, the beach is optional because sometimes you get people that are not really interested in the beach. So we do it, on this tour, the beach is optional. So it's either 2 or 4 hours total. So it's going to be 4 hours, including the 2 hours at the beach. So it's $25 per person. It includes the entrance fee at the beach because this is a private beach. So you normally pay $350 to get in, but that's included in our price. And during all our trips, we have drinks on the bus. We have beer, Coke, Sprite, and bottled water for you included in the price. And then we have, for example, the beach hopping tour. That's a longer tour. That's 6 hours total. That's $65 per person. But it includes the entrance fee at the national park. It includes snorkel equipment, all the drinks you want. Again, it's unlimited during the trip. And also the entrance fee at Puerto Mari Beach.
Yes.
That seems like it's pretty reasonable. I mean, if the taxi ride to the beach is going to be $60, I mean, it's definitely worth it just to book with you guys. Plus, just the drinks in general are definitely worth it. It's always nice to sit back, relax, see the scenery, have a couple of drinks, hanging out with the environment. I think I was also looking on your site, and you do a cave tour, I think it was. Can you tell me a bit about that? I love that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful tour. That's called the Surf and Turf Tour. It's part land, part sea. So you're going to be going first to the Hatta Caves, which is a beautiful, beautiful cave we have here. You take there a 45-minute guided tour through the cave. We pay that for you, and then you get back on the bus. We go to the salt lakes of Willie Brothers, where you're going to be seeing the flamingos. And after that, Puerto Mari Beach for 2 hours for snorkeling. That's the Surf and Turf Tour, and that's $50. And that also includes the entrance fees and also the drinks.
Does that have the snorkels with it too, or?
Snorkel
Yes.
gear included also, yes.
Yes.
Nice. I've been to a couple
Yeah.
different places in Mexico and some of the other islands where sometimes the rentals can be pretty pricey, and some people
Yeah.
have mentioned to me, "Oh, why don't you just bring snorkels with you?" But that takes up a lot of space in your bag,
It does,
especially
it
if you're
does.
flying down to the ship. Then it's just like there's so much extra space. So we got a couple
Exactly.
extra people. Sandy says, "Oh my god, the pistachio liqueur is absolutely amazing. It tastes great, especially on top of ice cream. Their bottle is gone."
Yeah,
Melissa
correct.
Colby
That's true.
says, what does goat taste like and iguana taste like? I don't know if I would try them. I would probably get a bit queasy with it."
Okay, so
I-
goat.
Goat, it tastes like meat. It just have to be prepared right, you know? It's
Mhm.
more tender, and it just have to be prepared right, because I mean, if you don't clean the goat right, it's gonna smell in the food. You're gonna smell kind of like a fresh smell, you know, of meat. But if you clean it right, they use lemon and vinegar to clean it. If you clean it right, the goat tastes really good. The iguana, it tastes like chicken, but it's much better than chicken. I don't say it tastes just like, it tastes much better than chicken.
That's
It's
exactly
much
what
tender,
I'm
much
saying.
softer. It's got more taste, and it's much healthier because iguanas only eat vegetables,
Mhm.
leaves and vegetables. So it's a healthy meal.
Nice. So when I was looking up some of the history of Curacao, and I mentioned this briefly with you guys, so I think you know what question I'm gonna ask. So
Yeah.
brothels, tell me a bit about that on the island exactly.
He can tell you about it.
No, what we have here is because back in the days because we have such a big harbor here, we had a lot of sailors visit the island back in the days, and they thought it would be a good idea to have one of this a place where the sailors could go spend their evening after being so long on the ocean, of course. And they opened this place called Campo Alegre, which is Club Mirage, and it's an amazing place. It's a huge resort with about 150 ladies walking around there, and it's amazing. It's I mean, you don't just go there to sleep with somebody. It's got bars, restaurants, shows, yeah, and live shows, and even on Tuesday nights, women are also allowed in this place. So it's a great place to visit, especially for men.
I think that was the most PG way that you guys could have said that, and I applaud you for that. Like that was pretty great. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a couple more questions coming in. This one comes in from Kathy. She says, "What is the local beer over there?" Local beer.
We used to have the Amstel Brewery, but it closed down. Right now, we don't have a local beer. We don't. Locally brewed, we do. It's called Montana beer. Yeah, they started
There's
a
one.
new beer.
It's small, you know.
It's small. It's not so big yet. So no.
Not.
Gotcha,
We used
gotcha.
to have the Amstel Brewery here on the island, but not anymore.
So, what's the major source of employment on the island at Charisse Kali? Is it mainly tourism, or I think it was oil refinery might be somewhere in there?
Yeah.
Saw a couple bit of that, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, too bad is the oil refinery the number one source of income now. I think tourism is the number two source of income, but yeah, we have an oil refinery. It's quite big. It started back in 1914 by the Shell Oil Company, and in the 80s the Shell stopped refining here because of problems they had in Venezuela. And what we did is they sold the refinery to the local government for $1, and we rent the refinery out to the company from Venezuela called PDVSA. But next year that contract also finishes, and we don't know what's going to happen with the refinery. We wish it to go from here. We don't want the refinery here because it's not nice.
It's in the middle of it's close to town. So when you cross the Queen Juliana Bridge, the toll bridge, you see a beautiful city on your right, and you see the refinery on your left.
Yes.
You know,
Gotcha.
and the pollution. We don't think it's nice.
Mm-hmm. I would
But I
agree
mean, a
with
lot of
that.
people have jobs there. So
A lot of people
have good jobs there. So
So I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then we're going to be wrapping up the interview. So how much stuff is there to do right outside of the port? I know a lot of people sometimes just spending a lot of money on their cruise ships, they can't afford to do tours, so they're looking for just little things here and there to do walking right off the ship. What would you guys recommend that's in walking distance around there?
Walking distance. Okay, the floating bridge is a must see. You will find it right in the middle of town. The Jewish synagogue is also in town. Beautiful. It's really nice. We have, for example, the Curacao Museum for the people that are interested in museums. That's the Slaver Museum. That's also really nice. The closest beach is Mambo Beach. It's not really walking distance, but to go there with a taxi, if you share a taxi with 6 people, it's only $5 per person. That's the closest beach. The aquarium is connected to the beach, so that's also nice to visit.
Is there any crime or places that you should avoid on the island? I know when some people go to like Belize or Mexico, they're usually warned, hey, usually it's pretty safe if you go to these areas, but I would try to avoid this just because, there's going to be crime somewhere, all the time.
Of course, of course. Well, the incidence here with tourists is very, very, very low.
Yeah.
But I mean, in town, it's very safe to walk around. Of course, you're not going to walk around in the small alleys a little bit outside of town. I always advise the people to stay in town. Don't go too much outside of town, inside of the small alleys. Something might happen, You might get robbed of your camera or something, but
It doesn't, not that it
it's
happens.
not, it's not
a
something
lot.
that happens daily or weekly here on the island. It's not, I mean, if tourists get robbed, it's a big issue on the island right now, So we don't hear that a lot here.
No. And the walk from the terminals to the city, perfectly safe.
We don't
have
even
to
have
worry.
beggars here. People don't beg you for money here either. So
Nice.
it's very nice to walk around here in town. I mean, if you don't have money to take a tour, downtown is beautiful. There are many bars and restaurants on the entrance of the bay. Beautiful to sit there and watch all the ships come in and out of the bay. I mean, there's plenty to do in town here. It's just beautiful here.
So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. And can you tell us a little bit more where we can look you guys up online?
Okay, so our website is www.erietours.com. If you go to the website, click on tours, you can see all the different tours, and on the pages of the tours, you can book directly for any tour you're interested in. So we do different tours. As we said, we do the East Side Tour, the West Side Tour, and a caves tour, caves and beach. But if you have like a big group, and you're interested in different other parts of the island or do like a combination of the tours, you can do that too. With a group of 16 or more, we can do private tours. Anything you want. And that is called the Create Your Own Tour.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. Carnival Cruise Line today began accepting reservations for the Carnival Panorama, which kicks off its year-round 7-day Mexican Riviera scheduled from Long Carnival Cruise Line today. Oh my goodness. There we go. Sorry, I double-clicked up and it can be confusing sometimes. Their reservations for 133,500-ton Panorama kicks off the year-round 7-day Mexican Riviera. Oh my gosh, I just copy and pasted all the time there. Which kicks off on December 14th of 2019. Becoming the first new Carnival ship home ported on the West Coast in 20 years. The Panorama will offer a 3-port day, 7-day itinerary from Long Beach, departing every Saturday to stunning destinations all along the Mexican Riviera, including Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. I apologize for butchering these names, guys. I am so bad. I can hear Shally smirking in the background over there. Voyages will depart from the newly refurbished Long Beach Cruise Terminal, housed in a massive 146,000 square foot geocentric dome that once housed Howard Hughes' Spruce Goose airplane. The expanded facility offers a streamlined embarkation and debarkation process, along with stunning design elements that pay homage to the Golden State, including a mural of the Sierra Nevada mountains and replicas of the Spruce Goose. Royal Caribbean International took delivery of the new Symphony of the Seas at the STX France shipyard in Saint-Nazaire, France today. Michael Bailey, President and CEO of Royal Caribbean International, Richard Fain, Chairman and CEO of Royal Caribbean Cruises, and Laurent Castang, General Manager of STX France, led the traditional flag-changing ceremony. Symphony of the Seas is the latest example of how our people work to push the envelope and innovation with each new ship, said Royal Caribbean Cruises Lieutenant, Chairman, and CEO Richard D. Fain. The Oasis class has been a trend-setting design, but the team has evolved the design to build on the success to provide even more incredible family adventures. We're thankful to have a partner in STX France that is every bit as ambitious as we are about building technology, advanced ships. This is the 25th ship in Royal Caribbean's fleet. Symphony of the Seas is 228,081 gross registered tons, measures about 238 feet tall, and spans 1,188 feet long. So our cruise shows and all the wonderful abilities we have to bring in guests remotely wouldn't be possible at the level we do without vMix. vMix is a live production software that powers our live show and many other high-end productions. From church services to football games, more and more live productions run on vMix. What our producer Bird really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way you can test it out risk-free before you buy for 2 full months. Then they have systems starting from just $350 up to $1,500 depending on your production requirements. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need vMix. Try it free at vmix.com today. So my lovely co-host, Shally, has her drink in hand and is ready to talk about her favorite parts of the ships. But she needs your help this time. She will explain a little bit more.
Shally? Hey, Matt. How's it going?
It's going great. So before we get into your segment, just tell me all my corrections so you don't have to yell at me later on.
It's Puerto Vallarta. I don't know what you said. That was the best butcher ever.
I'm trying.
Puerto Vallarta. Come on now.
I thought if I say
we need to get this boy out more. Seriously.
I think if I say it fast, most people don't pick it up, but I'm standard.
No, we all got that one. We all got that butcher real quick. There was no mistaking it.
So let me explain your section, and then I'll, complain about your stuff. So
I will attempt to pronounce all of the words correctly. But this week, I wanted to talk about everything that was my favorite thing on every ship that I've been on. Whether it's your favorite bar, your favorite thing to do. I see that Jason Tyler must be the bars. Ha, ha, ha. But, yeah, just your favorite activity, your favorite cruise director, your favorite ship. So this is what I came up. I'm going to talk about what mine was. Then I want to know what Matt's is, although he's only been on a couple of cruises. So it's a little, there's a whole plethora of information there. But so anyway, that's what we're going to start off with. So in the comments, I'm going to say what my favorite is. All of our viewers, you say what your favorite is, and we'll see how many favorites we have in common. So, of course, I'm going to start with my favorite bar, just like our viewer just commented. So, my favorite bar. Now, this is close because I actually have 2. I couldn't say there was just one. I have 2 favorite
different bars do they have on the ship? I think it's only like 3.
No, I mean, there are lots of bars. I mean, there's lots.
I love them all in individual
ways. The Alchemy
ways.
Bar, the Atrium Bar, the Red Frog Bar. They have all these bars.
Good point.
But there's places that I always like to hang out the most. So my most favorite is your favorite as well, Matt, the Alchemy. I love the Alchemy Bar because they serve unusual drinks and they present them in a very theatrical way. You have them pouring 7 martinis all at once. So it's really fun to watch them prepare your drinks.
I thought you had to wait 5 minutes in between you get drinks, though, Shally.
Well, no, like if you have the martini tasting, they have like a martini tasting and they do like all of them all at once and they pour them all together, like all separately. It's really fun to watch. That isn't part of your cheers, by the way. If you do the martini tasting, that's not part of your cheers package. You have to pay like whatever
An
the
additional
martini
one. It's like
tasting is.
$8. It's
But
not too bad.
right, and I mean it's like 8 small versions or 5 small versions of all the martinis that you like. So, and they're really fun to watch them make those. It's very unusual ingredients, lots of herbs and spices and different fruits and vegetables and everything. So that's fun. But probably even more than the Alchemy Bar, one of my most favorite places to hang out on the ship is the Red Frog Pub. Not all of the ships have one, but it's a very casual, laid-back atmosphere. It's like going to your local hangout. There's a live band playing music. They have all the full bar. They have food available if you're hungry. When you're in the bar, a lot of people might not realize this, but they have these little hot. When I say hot, I mean warm out of the oven. The little wasabi. The little peas covered in the wasabi, they're crunchy. So like you go to a bar, instead of having peanuts or something like that, they have the little wasabi peas that you can sit and snack on. They're really good. You probably missed that. You didn't realize they had those. You have to ask your waiter for them. But anyway, so for me, it's Alchemy Bar, Red Frog Pub. They tie each other. So I'm not sure what our viewers have to say about what their favorite were. Yes, Tim, the fishbowl.
Seems the majority of people agree that Alchemy and Red Frog rum
is like this gigantic bowl of drink, and you need it's supposed to serve 4 people at least. So don't order one on your own, Matt.
Pete Domino's says that their medium feeds 4 to 6, but I can eat a whole one myself, Shally. I don't need someone telling me recommended serving size.
Matt. This is a little different than pizza, okay?
So more experience than pizza then.
It's huge. It's like it's big. So you want to share it with somebody.
So my favorite bar is the Alchemy Bar. It's always been my favorite.
You see how I cut in there? He's like, I'm talking now. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
I love
What's
the
your
Alchemy
favorite
bar? It's really great. I would say my least favorite is probably the Club Bar, and I don't think I've seen anyone post about the Club Bar there. I tried a lot of their drinks. I've tried their shots. It just seems very flat, and a lot of the drinks didn't taste that great, or they didn't really stand out to me that much.
You're talking like the dance club, like
correct,
the disco?
The Club Bar, yeah. I mean, the other favorite one is the Art Gallery because it's free champagne too.
Well, of course, yeah, but that's not really a bar, Matt. Not
they give me alcohol and I sit down. Bar. Close enough.
I have to agree with the nightclub. I mean, I like the nightclub. I like to go and dance, but it seems like a lot of times that they don't have a wide variety of music, and maybe I'm just getting old. But, some of the music, it's geared towards a much younger crowd. And I like to go to the club, but I want to hear some, old, what's his face, doing the...
I mean, go to the piano bar
with the pants. No. I'm talking about, what's his name with the pants?
Oh, God, MC Hammer.
I can't believe you even know who that is. I mean, who was it last week? The last time you didn't even know who it was I was talking about? Because you were born in 1997 or something crazy like that. Anyway, moving on, or this is going to take all night, literally. Okay, so we have our favorite bar. So next, what's your favorite drink at that bar? How to choose. I mean, there's so many to choose from. But my favorite drink, for a long, you think you want a Miami Vice, you think you want a Pina Colada, you think you want these really... fruity. The thing is, they're so filling. You drink a couple of Miami Vices, you're so full you can't keep drinking because, you've just drank a meal in a glass. So for me, most of the time, I'm a Chardonnay girl. I like my wine. Or I like my extra dirty martinis, my extra dirty Grey Goose martinis, because keep in mind, when you buy Cheers, all top shelf liquors included. So don't get the vodka when you get a martini. You get the good stuff. You get the Tito's. You get the Kettle One. You get the Grey Goose. It's included. Sorry about that. It's included in the price of your cheers. So I like an extra dirty martini. When you go to the Alchemy bar, their extra dirty martinis have blue cheese stuffed olives in them. I can just skip dinner and go have my martinis and my blue cheese olives, and I'm good to go. So, but anyway, so I'm a wine girl. I'm a extra dirty martini girl. I know probably the most of the comments coming in, Miami Vice, Kiss on the Lips, you know, all the fruity drinks, and they're delicious. I get it, but they're very filling. They really are. For me, it's like I feel like I
too
ate dinner.
sweet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's too sweet and it's too big. I mean, you get a glass this big, and by the time you finish it, you feel like you need to go take a nap. So what's your favorite drink, Matt?
My favorite drink, Shally, it kind of depends on the night. I think it kind of changes as the cruise progresses. Usually in the beginning, I really like the cucumber sunrises are great. I really like the Chipotle Chipotle pineapple martini. But most nights, like right before dinner or during dinner, I really like a champagne Chambord because I like to feel bougie and really special and elegant. And Chambord is pretty expensive, but it just makes me feel nice. Yeah, it's bubbly, it's nice, it's happy, it's great. I can walk around the casino and I feel like nice and fancy. But I really do like my martinis a lot.
Yes.
Otherwise,
and they have several martinis at the Alchemy bar that I like. One of them was called like 40 is the new 20 or something like that. It had Chambord in it. It had Chambord in it. They have even the water at the Alchemy bar. If you ask them, excuse me, I'm just a little thirsty, I just like a glass of water. They bring you this beautiful glass of water that has blueberries and cucumbers and strawberry slices in it. And it's so pretty, you know, and it's with that wonderful, you know, exceptional organic purified water or whatever they're using. It's really, really good. So
I also
they have just about everything you can want.
Gin martinis too, or like an elderflower martini are really good. I like the old-fashioned drinks. I really like Jägermeister a lot. I like the earthy
This youngin' right here telling me he likes gin.
Good. It's called sophistication, Shally.
No, it's called you must not taste anything because that tastes terrible. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so again, don't forget that with Cheers, you can order the top shelf liquors. You know, you can get the expensive stuff. So next, moving on from drinks, now we'll move on to the food. So what's your favorite specialty restaurant? So for me, it used to be the steakhouse. I don't really care for, I did a show, I don't know, several back whenever we went on the Vista for group CCPPS Group Groups 4. And there's a lot of changes they made to the steakhouse. And it's not that I don't love the steakhouse. I still love the ambiance. I love the smaller atmosphere. It's kind of dark. You got the candle on the table. It's very elegant. But most of my favorite things that I went to the steakhouse for, like the escargot and the crab cake and the cheesecake, they revamped the menu and none of that's on there anymore. So although I do love the steakhouse, and I would say that was my favorite at one point, I can't really say it's my favorite anymore. So I'm going to have to venture out and find something else. One reason that I do like the steakhouse too is because my husband loves Johnny Walker Blue Label Scotch, which is very expensive. And if you have your Cheers, it's included. But that's one of the only bars on the whole ship where you can get the Blue Label Scotch is at the steakhouse because of course it's a steakhouse and people like to drink scotch with their steak. So we like to go there. What about you, Matt? Did you guys do a specialty restaurant on your cruises?
We went to the steakhouse on the first one, and I remember you should know this because you commented
with the tank top. You had a tank top on. I remember this.
Yeah, the tank top incident.
How dare they not let me in with my tank top?
On the first day, cut me some slack. Sorry, old people, to offend you with your etiquette, but I'm still gonna wear my hat. Anyway.
Did he say old people?
There was like when we first went in there, it was like a bunch of elderly men and women that were just kind of sitting down there, and they looked aghast when I walked in with the tank top, and I'm like,
she had a fan, and she was like, "Oh my lord, he's got on a tank top."
But the steakhouse was great. They gave us complimentary appetizers, which was awesome.
Right,
But
the chef brings you little things to taste, little tastings from Gigi's Asian Steakhouse was cool like that. They had little things for you to taste too.
I would say I like the
Not
chef's table the
steakhouse,
best. It's not
Asian
really a
kitchen.
specialty restaurant, but I think it kind of would fit into this category the best, the chef's table, just because it's small, it's
Yes.
niche, and I would highly recommend
Yes,
that
I would
to a
say
lot
that
of
would be
people.
specialty because it would, it's an extra fee. I think that, the steakhouse is $35, but I think the chef table is more like
It's like
75.
75 or so, but it's
Yeah,
a
it's a little
huge
more
meal.
expensive.
You get unlimited wine while you're there. It's 2 different types, a red and a
Ooh,
white.
unlimited
So that's
wine.
cool. The both
As
yellow
many
kangaroo.
cruises as I've been on, I haven't gone to the chef's table yet.
It's really
They
great.
make
It
you
was
wear
several
closed-toed
courses.
shoes, and I'm not all about closed-toed shoes. I like to show off my pedicure. I mean,
Just put like holes on the top of it. Wear like clear shoes then. I don't know.
no, I'm gonna go. I just have to find the fabulous pair of closed-toed shoes. Anyway, that's what's keeping me. So anyway, from there, so your restaurant. So what's your favorite meal? So everybody that's been on a couple of cruises or a bunch of cruises, there's always one night or one meal that you really enjoy. You always order the same thing over and over again. For me, my favorite meal is I really enjoy, for a long time, we would go to Lido Deck for breakfast. I mean, it's all right. But the dining room, I'd rather go to the dining room for breakfast than dinner a lot of times. Because a lot of times at dinner, we're partying, we're hanging out, we're doing stuff. I don't necessarily want to sit down to a 2-hour dinner. But if I'm going to eat breakfast, I always go to the dining room. I don't go to the Lido. You can order my favorite breakfast from there. I get the eggs Benedict, but I tell them to put the hollandaise sauce on the side. And that means that they have to make me a fresh one that hasn't been sitting in the window for a minute or two. They got that tip from Sir William Burton. But anyway, so the eggs Benedict, and at breakfast, it's kind of like a brunch. They have all these things on the menu that you might not realize you can get. Like, I usually get my eggs Benedict and a slice of banana cream pie afterwards. You can get macaroni and cheese anytime you want, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They have the bacon macaroni and cheese. They have the jalapeno macaroni and cheese. They have just regular macaroni and cheese. And you can get a banana split in the dining room, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So I like to sit down for breakfast in the dining room. Yeah. Raquel, steak and eggs. They've got all these choices, and it's so much better to me, I think, than breakfast on the go in the Lido, it's fine. It's not that it's bad. It's just that I would rather sit down in the dining room for breakfast.
I don't
What
really
about you,
have
Matt?
a
Did you
favorite
go to the
meal.
dining room?
I mean,
No?
I don't go to the dining room for breakfast really. I'm not a huge breakfast person. If I
Mhm.
do, it's usually just like a plate of fruit, and that's pretty much it. Like I could eat a bunch of melon in the morning, maybe some toast and coffee, and I'll be good to go. Just not a big breakfast food type of guy. Usually I want to sleep in a little bit too, so it gives me a bit extra
Well, it's
time.
brunch though, so
Mm.
remember that this is being served, I want to say, until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go to the dining room for, they call it Sea Day Brunch or Seaside Brunch or whatever. So you don't have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to have brunch. And of course, then there's the Dr. Seuss breakfast if you want some Fruit Loop covered French toast or something
I'm
crazy like
good.
that.
I'm okay
Yeah,
with
it was
that.
it was a little too sweet. A little too
I would
sweet.
also say I really like the unique taste or the exotic taste menu is probably my favorite. I don't have like a dish that I always get really at dinner. I like to try every single dish. I'm not a person that can eat the same thing over and over again. I will say though, the
I'm
creme
like that
brulee though I
too.
usually get every time. I love
Yeah.
the creme brulee. It's
Now,
my favorite.
yeah, there's I like to try anything new that I can. I've tried the frog legs and the escargot, and they'll have different dishes that you can try, but I've been on a lot of cruises now, and there are a few things that are my favorites, like I do love the escargot. The escargot in the steakhouse was top notch. The escargot in the dining room is still really good, but it wasn't steakhouse escargot, and I'm so mad at them for taking it off. But anyway, we don't have to
I
talk about that.
agree. I tried the escargot, just like, okay, I've never had this before. I'm probably never going to order at
That
another
was your
menu.
first
So
time to have escargot?
it
Oh my
was,
God.
it tastes kind of like a very buttery mushroom, I think would be the best way to
Yes.
describe it. It's
More
a
of a
bit
tender
chewier,
mushroom.
but
Right.
yeah, it tastes very similar to a mushroom, and it
I
kind of
love
took me off
escargot.
guard. I enjoyed it quite a
And
bit.
in the steakhouse, their escargot in the steakhouse was phenomenal, and they took it away. But anyway, I said we don't have to talk about that. But anyway, so moving on. So we're having a little foodie thing here. So what's your favorite late night snack? So most people are being like, oh, I go to the Pizza Pirate or I get room service or whatever. For me, here's a little trick if you haven't figured this out so far. So we've been out partying, we've been out drinking. You know, you go back to your cabin, you're hungry. Room service is at least 45 minutes because every other drunk on the ship decided they're hungry at the same time, as well as all 500 people that decided to go to the Pizza Pirate at the same time. So let me tell you what's the best thing to do. When you're at dinner, after you eat your dinner, you've gotten your dessert, ask your waiter to bring you a cheese plate, which has 6 or 7 different kinds of cheeses, some little crusty breads and some fruit, some melon and some grapes and things like that. I usually get 2 cheese plates to go. But anyway, they'll bring it to you in a little covered plate, just like you would get with room service. I take that back to my cabin. That's my late night snack, is my cheese plate. That's what I love. That is so good. It's the perfect snack before bed. It's not heavy. It's not like heavy, greasy pizza, you know,
You
or
don't
having
really have to
chicken wings.
refrigerate it too much, too. Like, if you're going to eat it that night, it doesn't need to be
Right,
refrigerated.
because cheese is really meant to be served at room temperature anyway. You know, cheese is kept in the refrigerator to keep it from spoiling, but it's not going to spoil in the course of a few hours.
Exactly.
And I find that cheese tastes better when it is room temperature anyway. So it's got a blue cheese chunk and a Gouda and a Havarti and you know, all these cheeses and then the fruit. And if you haven't been at dinner too late, you could always stop by the Lido before that closes down, and they have the whole fruit bar going on. They've got melons and berries and all that. Put some fruit on your cheese plate, take it back to your room. That's my late night snack. You know, what do you like? Do you go to the Pizza Pirate, Matt?
I mean, Pizza Pirate's great, just because it's a great way to socialize with other people who are intoxicated. So that's super great. I met a lot of people there and hung out with them for a while. The pizza's like at its peak freshest at that time because they're making it pretty much fresh. I really
That's true. One right after the other.
If I have a fridge in the room, which usually most of the larger ships do have, I would go to the sandwich place, grab like 1 or 2 sandwiches around like 2 or 3 o'clock when they're not too busy, throw them in the fridge, and then I can munch on them, you know, here or there if I want it. Or for the morning, if we are going off the ship, you know, I got a sandwich. I don't have to wait for the breakfast cart to come over, give me my food. That's either kind of warm coffee or it's cold or it's hot or it's not the right temperature. So sandwich in the fridge, I really like a lot, and it's nice to bring it with me on the islands.
Yeah, just make sure that you don't bring any bananas or fruit because they have
Correct.
a banana sniffing dog, and he will find you and he will take your banana.
That
Okay,
better
don't
not
be
be a banana in
exposing your
pants.
banana, Matt. Don't be exposing your banana.
I will
Okay,
try
I've
my
seen
best.
him. I took a picture of him. So, so that's a late night snack. So then late night, then we're moving on. What's your favorite thing from room service? They've definitely changed up the room service menu. There were a couple things on there that I was sad to see go. They used to have like a shrimp salad sandwich that was really good. They had like a prime rib with brie. It was like, oh my God, this is really good. And it's room service. Now it's basically some sandwiches, some cold things. And then they also have some things on the room service menu now that you can pay for. And it's really cheap. It's like chicken fingers for $3, a pizza for $4. It's not expensive. It's just that it's not all free like it used to be. But really, my favorite thing from room service, if I forgot my cheese plate or I didn't go to the dining room that night, the ham and cheese sandwich, the turkey and cheese sandwich, it's loaded up with, you know, turkey, ham, cheese, crispy lettuce, tomato. It's got some potato chips and a pickle.
So, our sandwiches, are you able to take them off the ship? I've taken them off the ship with me. I've never been stopped. Usually the only issue is if you take fruit off of the ship, or if you're trying to bring foreign food onto the ship, it can be an issue. But usually taking stuff off the ship is not too bad.
They do kind of discourage you from taking any food off the ship, period, because a lot of people too will take the little cereal boxes
And
to
hand them
feed
out
the
to people,
fish.
yeah.
No, they feed the fish with them, with the cornflakes and stuff like that. I think they kind of discourage you taking the food off the ship. I think they're really the biggest thing that they have a problem with, though, is the fruit. You know, because what if our bananas have a different kind of banana fly on it than they have? Yeah, exactly. So I don't think they would take your sandwich, but, you know.
I would eat it right there.
They might. You'd be like, I'm eating
Ma'am,
my
you're not
turkey
allowed
sandwich.
to bring this bottle of wine. I'm going to need a moment then. Okay. Here, take this empty glass bottle.
Moving on from food and booze. So the next one was, what's your favorite ship? I've said time and time again, I've mentioned it several times on other shows, my favorite ship is and always will be, unless they can outdo her, is the Liberty. She's beautiful, she's gaudy, she's colorful, she's sparkly, she's me in ship form is the way I feel about it. She's the color changing chandeliers and the wrought iron and the beautiful paintings everywhere. I just love the Liberty. She's I believe Liberty is Conquest class. She's not a giant ship like Magic or Horizon or Vista, but she's not little tiny like some of the other smaller ships that Carnival has. I think she's the perfect size. She's got the perfect curves. She's got the perfect colors. And we took one of our diva cruises was on the Liberty, and it was just perfect because of all of our sparkly divas on this sparkly ship. It was like the perfect ship for a diva cruise. But Matt, you've only been on what,
Shally's
2 cruises?
Dating profile over there. I've only been on 2 cruises, so I've only been on the Magic and the Triumph, and they're so vastly different.
That was hilarious.
It's hard to really compare them, so I'm gonna say that I don't have a favorite. I've only been on 2.
What, you went on Magic and what?
Magic and so the Triumph. So they're 2 different classes of ships.
Well, Magic is definitely newer and bigger. Yeah, the Triumph is the same class as Liberty. Triumph and the Liberty were the same size, but Magic is the same size as the Breeze and the Dream and that. So, but anyway, that's my favorite ship. I love the Liberty. So the next thing is, so I've been on a lot of different types of cabins on all of the ships that I've been on. Been in interiors, balconies, ocean views, deluxe ocean views, portholes. I like to try out different cabins and see, because, you know, a porthole cabin isn't as expensive as an ocean view, but you still basically have a window. Your deluxe ocean view is an ocean view cabin. You get 2 bathrooms. So, I mean, there's all kinds of cabins out there to choose from. My most favorite cabin that I've been on so far. Now, this may change because although I have seen them, I have not stayed in one. This upcoming Diva Cruise 5 with my main man Dwayne here is going to be a scenic ocean view, which is those cabins that have the gigantic, they're at the very forward of the ship, and they have these giant windows. As you can see everything. I've been in one, but I haven't actually stayed in one yet. But as of now, my favorite cabin is the aft balcony. And those are at the very back of the ship. And when you're looking at the ship, you can see the little balconies. Those are all cabins. They face directly towards the back of the ship. They're very funny, Keitha. Anyway, so they face the back of the ship. The balconies on the aft cabins, on the aft balconies, they're wider and they're longer than a standard balcony. Most of them all open up to each other, so you can have the balcony party going on if you have a group of people, which we took over the complete aft. I think it was last Diva Cruise. Every cabin on the aft was us. It was awesome. We had so much fun. Do not crawl over the sides of the balconies, though, people. That is very dangerous, right, Kim? You don't want to do that ever. So anyway, so again, you haven't been in a lot of cabins, Matt. So I know that you probably, what is Bird doing the miserly, we got to go cheap thing and doing the interior?
I mean, we've only been in interiors, and my
I
only
knew
experiences
it.
are
I knew it.
with Bird or without Bird. I mean, it
But
was
still
a bit.
in the
Well,
interior.
I've been in a suite, so
To me, I don't see the need to really upgrade past an interior. To me, it's just a place where I'm going to sleep. I know other people might argue that, but I'm really never in my cabin. And it's just like
I'm
getting a
not in my
super
cabin
nice
much either.
hotel as well
I
anywhere.
get it.
I mean, you know, I don't have a
I
huge
get
amount
what
of
you're
money,
saying.
so it can be different.
I get what you're saying, but I will say this. The only time, like, I'm not normally someone that sleeps in. Like, even on the weekends when I'm off, it's like, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun's coming in, I'm awake, I'm ready to get up. When you're in an interior cabin, it's like a cave. If you don't have an alarm set, there is no way for you to know that the sun has come up and wake you up. One day, my husband and I mean, we have been drinking, no questions asked, but normally I still would have gotten up at a normal time. I was like, oh my God, what time is it? We had an interior. We went cheap that time. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We had slept the entire morning and half the afternoon away because we didn't even realize what time it was.
Oh,
I
my
do
goodness.
like to at least have a window. I do like, even if I'm not going to splurge on a balcony or anything like that, even an ocean view or a porthole cabin, at least you can see the sunlight peeking in and you know that it's time to get up. It's time to get on with your day. So anyway, we got to move along, Matt. It's already
Yeah,
8:05. So we got, okay, I'm just going to kind of breeze through these last few ones here. I'm going to my favorite onboard activity. Almost all of our cruises are the group cruises, and we have so many activities planned. Most of the fun times that I have with our group is the cabin crawl, which is basically like a pub crawl, except you're going from cabin to cabin. You have the host, they give out trinkets or shots or snacks or whatever. As far as the ship sponsored activities, I love hanging out with my friends by the pool, just chilling out. The hairy chest contest is always so much fun. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. I love to see people getting out of their box and some guy up there dancing to the wobble with his hairy chest hanging out and loving life. I mean, I love to see people having fun. I'm all over that.
Shally spends a full 3 months not shaving to prepare for that.
I don't enter the hairy chest contest, Matt. Okay, I mean,
you can only get so many awards, so.
So
if you
anyway,
did, it would be unfair on everybody else.
Yeah, Bird had to get in on that. He had to totally chime in on that. So what's my favorite indulgence? So there are some things on the ship that will cost a little extra money. If you happen to be booked on one of the few ships that have the updated Cloud9 spa that comes with the heated thermal chairs and the Thalasso mineral pool and the rainforest shower and the steam rooms and the saunas. It's $150 a person, or it's $250 per couple for the whole week. That's a 7-day unlimited pass. But what I did find was that we have so many activities going on a lot of these group cruises that I got the spa cabin, but I only went to the spa like twice because you just don't have the time for it. So what I do now is if we're on one of those Magic, Dream, the Breeze, the Vista doesn't have the Thalasso pool, but they have all the rest of the stuff. What I'll do is I'll go indulge in a 1-day pass. You can just buy a pass for the day instead of for the whole week, just so I can go. The Thalasso mineral pool is so awesome. Don't wear your silver in there because it'll tarnish from the minerals. But anyway, who's my favorite cruise director? Well, this is a hard one. I've been on our cruise directors have been so accommodating. They have helped us with so much stuff. They've given us everything that we've ever needed, ships on a stick and medals, and they come and take pictures with us. But the one I got to say, who is now, I haven't cruised with Matt Mitchum yet, and I think he's avoiding us for some reason. Every time we book a group cruise, he's supposed to be the cruise director, and then mysteriously his vacation comes up and he's not on it anymore. But so far, Frankie the Tank, he's gone above and beyond. He's been our Diva cruise director twice now in a row on the Valor. He is awesome. He shows up. He, even though as busy as they are, he comes to all the activities that he can. He's great. Lee Mason, Donna, just commented. Lee Mason, he is going to be our cruise director on CCPPF Group Cruise 6 in 2019, I believe. So we're looking forward to meeting Lee. Or maybe it's 2018. I get confused. There's so many cruises.
And Frank the Tank was actually on the show with us a bit earlier on, too. So it was really cool.
Yes, I was the co-host that night, so I got to see Frankie. He's great. He's so sweet. Even though, I mean, the cruise directors are so busy, but he came to the St. Jude's donation. He came to one night he showed up at the disco with his glow gear on and did it. He was great. So love Frankie. My favorite port, I can't go on and on and on and on and on about Adrian, Cozumel, and Cozumel. I've been to so many ports on all these cruises. Cozumel is to me, it feels like home. It's safe. It's one of the only places that I would rent a Jeep and just go out on my own if I wanted to. Whenever we go to Cozumel, Adrian always sets up some fabulous tour for us to go on, whether it's a catamaran or a bus tour, going to all the bars, whatever we want to do. And it's beautiful. Cozumel is like everything all in one. And I will, that was my very first trip ever to the Caribbean, was my dad back in, this way before you were born, Matt, back in 1984. We went to the Yucatan, we went to Cancun, we went to Cozumel. It's always going to be my favorite forever and ever and ever. But I also do love Little French Key in Roatan. If you're going to Roatan doing the Honduras, you got to go to Little French Key. It's like a little slice of paradise. They got a zoo. They got snorkeling. They have everything you could want. Favorite tour operator, Adrian Cozumel and Javia Shaw from NoJamaica.com. Those two guys, they went on Group Cruise 4 with us. They got to actually party with us instead of and they did our tours for us when we got to the islands.
I wish we were invited.
If you're going to Jamaica, well, I wish I could have gone too, but somebody canceled that cruise because the scheduling conflict. I'm not sure. You were supposed to be on it. You're supposed to be shooting our video with your extra fancy equipment and stuff. But anyway, if you're going to Jamaica, you've got to talk to Javia. If it smell, you got to talk to Adrian. Period. There's nobody else that you should be going anywhere with other than them. Favorite excursion, Adrian. Anything has to offer, the catamaran, the bus, Little French Key. They have the zoo. They have all of that fun stuff to do. They have great food, great drinks. The last thing, like, what's your favorite show? What do you enjoy doing? I kind of quit going to the big shows and the big showroom. And I mean, you've seen one, you've seen all stuff, whatever. I mean, a lot of people love that. It's great. But
Shelly, you're starting to have some computer issues there.
I am?
Yeah, it's like freezing up a little bit.
Uh-oh. Well, I better wrap it up. I think my favorite show would probably be, I like getting all of our drunk friends and going to the late night comedy show and kind of harassing the comedian a little bit. We became great friends with Rob Little because we harassed him for a little while. He spent the rest of the cruise with us. So I've been blessed to go on a lot of cruises. I've seen a lot of cabins, a lot of ships. I've done a lot of excursions. But those are my most favorite things that I've done. Hopefully our viewers chimed in with what was their favorite. So maybe somebody watching the show that hasn't been on a lot of cruises will be like, oh, I want to try that. Or, oh, I want to go there. So hopefully everybody will do that. It's already 8:12, Matt.
9:12 here.
We got through it.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Thanks, Shelly, for coming on. Chris is the cruise director on the Carnival Dream, and every other week he brings us a little behind-the-scenes segment from crew life. This week we find that he has a small or not-so-small animal problem that are eating the food in the crew mess.
Well, hi everyone, this is Chris, the Flying Scotsman, here on the Carnival Dream, and welcome to another segment from Life of a Cruise Director. Keep tuning in every week to get these little segments, and of course, watch it all live on CruiseWeekTV. Keep watching.
Why? Oh god. The majestic dinosaur.
Is that Adrian?
This is why the T-Rex went extinct. Soaked up. Ah!
Come for salad. What did you order? Chicken. Eat. Thanks for watching Life of a Cruise Director, and if you want to see that full vlog series every single week, you can join us here in the subscription. Don't forget to subscribe to Facebook as well, Flying Scotsman CD, and I'll see you soon. Keep
That was
watching
hilarious.
Cruise Week TV.
That's definitely more than a small animal issue on board, but I think Shally enjoyed the two. Shally.
It was so funny because we had 2 T-Rexes on Group Cruise 4 for Halloween. They had a duel in the dining room. It was
Oh my god.
I loved how his little hands couldn't get to the buffet. That's why they went extinct, because he couldn't reach the food. That was hilarious. I love it.
Well, thanks, Chris. And you can catch more of Chris in the Life of a Cruise Director every other week right here on CruiseWeek.tv. An official Curacao liqueur has to be made with the dried peels of the Lahara, Shally, I pronounced that correctly, Lahara, is a bitter orange native to Curacao, and it means golden orange of Curacao. Spanish explorers brought the bitter Seville orange to the island in 1527. The progenitor of the Lahara, although the bitter flesh of the Lahara is unpalatable, the peels are pleasantly aromatic. There are no definite facts to point out who developed the first Curacao liqueur and when. The Lucas Bols distillery, founded in 1575 in Amsterdam, maintains the Lucas Bols already developed a Lahara-based liqueur. The Dutch West Indies Company had taken possession of Curacao in 1934, and Bols had shares in both the West and East India Companies to guarantee the cheap supply of spices for their distilled drinks. After the discovery that an aromatic oil could be extracted from the unripe peel of the otherwise useless bitter oranges, Bols had this oil exported back to Amsterdam to develop a liqueur similar to current-day Curacao. Bols tended to add an element of alchemical mystery to his products by explaining the unlikely addition of a blue coloring. In the past, liqueur also had the name Crème de Ciel, crème of heaven, presumably for its blue color. Senor & Co., a company started in Curacao, is the only company that has always produced its liqueur from the peels of the Lahara. The Jewish family, Senior and Chumacaro, started selling their liqueur in 1896 in the pharmacy in small quantities. In 1947, they bought the Laharis, Dutch word for country manor, the Chobaholobo. I pronounced that correctly as well, just letting people know I looked this one up, in Willemstad, and the distillery has since been housed. As this company is the only one that uses Lahara fruit from Curacao, it has been permitted to put the word genuine on its labels. To create the liqueur of the Lahara peel is dried, bringing out the sweetly fragranced oil. After soaking it with a still alcohol and water for several days, the peel is removed and other spices are added. The company, Senior & Co., uses a 120-year-old copper kettle for the distilling process. They put the peels in a gummy bag. Spices are added and then hung in a heated copper still with 96 pure and kosher alcohol derived from sugarcane for 3 days. After 1 day of cooling, water is added and distillation takes place for another 3 days. The liqueur has an orange-like flavor with varying degrees of bitterness. It is naturally colorless, but is often given artificial coloring, most commonly blue or orange, which confers an exotic appearance to cocktails and other mixed drinks. The blue color is achieved by adding a food colorant, most often E133, brilliant blue. Some other liqueurs are also sold as curaçaos with different flavors added, such as coffee, chocolate, rum, and raisin. Remember, we have many past videos available for you to watch at our website at CruiseWeek.tv, which also has links to our t-shirt page and support pages as well. If you'd like to help with our